welcome back, welcome back. If you happen to find yourself on the depths of the internets today, my name is Ella. This is my channel where I talk a lot, edit badly. So you're probably wondering why I'm not in front of my yellow background with a door. Today I'm in my bathroom, there's also a door, because I'm going to be doing my makeup while I talk about all the books that I read. In January, I read 14 books this month, which is kind of a lot, considering last January I probably read like 3. But yeah, I'm going to be talking about them and doing my makeup, so yeah, let's get started. So to begin the year, I read 7 Hurried Boys by Aidan Thomas. I rated this book 4 stars. It is about this boy named Yadriel who really wants to be seen as a Brujo, I believe it's pronounced, but he is transgender, female to male, so everyone still sees him as a yeah. And he wants to prove to everyone that he is a boy, so he goes and he does this ritual for the Brujo and his family, and he accidentally summons a ghost of his classmate named Julian. Ooh, interesting. And, you know, they go and do adventures. I don't remember, like, much about this book, honestly, but there's a cute romance between Adriel and Julian, and it was just a really cute book altogether. It had a happy ending. The characters were all fun and bantery. Love fun, bantery characters. I think because I believe it was a debut, the writing style was a little bit clunky and confusing, which is why I hesitated to give it 5 stars. But overall, I really liked the story. I found it very entertaining, and I really appreciate the culture and the representation. The next book I read in January, and my tripod fell. Okay, that's not good. The next book that I read in January was I Was Born for This by Alice Oseman. I love this book so much. I also rated this 4 stars. I honestly think I would have given it 5 stars if I wasn't comparing it to everything else Alice Oseman wrote. Because if you don't know, she is my favorite contemporary author. I love how she writes YA. I think it's very authentic. It's a story about a girl named Angel, and she is very obsessed with this boy band called The Ark. She thinks that that is her entire life. She thinks she was born to be a fan of this band. And then also we follow Jimmy, who is the lead. No, he's not the lead singer, right? He's like the front man of The Ark, and he is dealing with a lot of anxiety, a lot of other stuff. He is questioning if he wants to be in this band anymore, and it just is a really, really good book. It's really well written. It's super like cute, but also it's not afraid to like go down dark roads and dark places, and I love just how Alice Oseman writes. I love the friendship group she makes. Like, I said this in my book haul, but I just want to be an Alice Oseman character. That's all I have to say about I Was Born for This. I think it's perfection. After that, I read a very popular book. I read The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Madeline? Who cares? I mean, that's This is about an exiled prince named Patroclus, and he meets Achilles, and they go on lots of adventures. They end up falling in love, you know. It was a very fun book. I did not expect it to like be as plot focused as it was, but it was very plot focused. I liked it because I didn't have to know anything about mythology, because I don't know anything about mythology. But this book really was very good at explaining it. I really liked the characters. I really liked Patroclus, really. I really don't understand what Patroclus saw in Achilles. Like, he wasn't that good of a person. Ooh, is that a hot take? I don't know. But I still really enjoyed it. I wouldn't say I expected it to be a lot more impactful, almost, than it really was. It was just kind of like, it was very sad, but I really liked the ending. It was just very, like, not underwhelming, but not overwhelming. Just like exactly what I thought it would be. And again, that's why I didn't rate it 5 stars, and I only rated it 4 stars. But overall, it was a very great reading experience. I'm very glad that I read it. My face does not look that good right now, but it looks way better in person. But the camera does not look so hot. The next thing I read was The End Games by Michael T. Martin. And this is a really weird book, because when I started it, I really didn't like it. It's about this teenage boy named Michael, and he has a younger brother, 5-year-old brother named Patrick, and they're kind of just surviving the end of the world. But Michael is trying to convince his brother Patrick that it's all a game. And Patrick is very young. He's like, he's 5, so he's not very mature, and he doesn't really like get the severity of the situation. So Michael tries to convince him that it is a game. At first I didn't really like it because Michael just seems like a teenage boy with like a savior complex, and when he gets to the group of other survivors, the first thing he noticed is like how pretty this girl is, and I'm like, oh my god, this isn't gonna force a romance on us, right? But it did definitely get better. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it was really interesting, the psychology of the brotherly relationship between Patrick and Michael, and that definitely took a forefront to both the survival aspects and the little romance. In fact, the romance was barely a plot point, which I was very happy about, and the love interest character turned out to be a much better character than I thought that she was going to be portrayed as. So overall, I just think it's kind of like an okay book. I didn't really have a problem with it, and I didn't really love it too much. What I did find interesting is it did kind of seem like a self-insert, since the author's name is in real life Michael, and he does have a younger brother named Patrick. His grandmother is also named Bobby, and the old woman in the story was named Bobby, and I found that interesting, because he's just writing about his own life. Did he survive the apocalypse? These are the questions we must answer. I read Tiny Pretty Things, and this book I gave a 2 stars. I did not like it very much because I found the characters very annoying. It's about ballet school. There's lots of drama. There's lots of controversy. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of drama going on. So these 3 main girls, Nevaeh, Bette, and June. I didn't like June much at all, because I didn't really get a good read on her. I couldn't tell who she was, and I felt like the authors also kind of pushed her aside compared to Nevaeh and Bette. I did really like Bette. She was definitely my favorite. I felt like she was the most well-developed too. And then Nevaeh, she was kind of just like this flawless human being. Like, she didn't have any character flaws, which honestly did not make me very sympathetic for her, especially when her main conflict was introduced like halfway through the book. I did read this book because I wanted to watch the TV show on Netflix, and I really liked the TV show a lot better. They changed the characters a lot. June changed a lot, and Nevaeh, her name's Nevaeh in the show. In the book, her name is Gigi. Nevaeh is very different, and she's much more sympathetic, and she actually has flaws, so that's good. We love a dynamic character. Okay. I guess that's it for that one. It wasn't wildly entertaining. Like, I totally get why that book was made into a TV show. Next, I read Very Nice by Marcy Drumansky, and I have very mixed opinions on this book, because I do feel like it was well written, but I almost feel like it tried to do too much. It follows this girl, of which I do not remember her name, and she is kind of in love with her creative writing professor. And at the beginning of the story, you find out that they actually slept together. But then, like, the professor was like, no, this isn't it. You're a student. He but he is also a struggling writer, and why? I think he gets like kicked out of his apartment or something, and he needs somewhere to live. So the girl, Rachel, that's her name. She's like, oh, you can come live in like my summer home, or is it just her regular home that's like on a beach? I don't know. That he ends up getting into a relationship with Rachel's mother. It gets very complicated. That's kind of the point. It's like in 5 different perspectives, and all the characters' lives kind of get weaved together. You kind of find out that none of them are like good people. I hesitate to use that phrase because they're all very narcissistic and selfish and do what's in their best interest, but I do find it very interesting. I think it was well written, but I just don't know my opinion on it. The whole time I was like, yes, this is well written, this makes sense. But when I look back on it, I don't really have any strong opinions at all, so I originally gave it 4 stars. I might change it to a 3. I don't think I have enough energy to like care enough to change it, so. Oh no. The next book I read was 10 by Gretchen McNeil. This is a book about a girl named something. She goes into a something and she does something. It's a thriller. It's like a slasher movie. It's actually like a reimagining of And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. It's really just like average. Like, it's the most YA thriller like book I've ever read. And so I think if you're getting into the genre, it'll be really good for you. But if you have like read a bunch of YA mysteries, a bunch of YA thrillers, like a bunch of these like teen slashery type books, this will do absolutely nothing for you. So I gave it a 2 stars. I just said, been there, done that. And there's a terribly forced romance that I was like not rooting for because the characters just weren't that developed. It kept mentioning the main character was a writer, but they never showed like any signs of that. She'd be like watching someone and the guy would come up and be like, wow, you're being such a writer right now. Like, what does that even mean? The whole book is just focused in stereotypes. It really reminds me of a Friday the 13th sequel. In fact, I think it is. Like, it would not surprise me. Is this a retelling of And Then There Were None, or is this a retelling of Friday the 13th? And then I just thought the plot twists were very weak. There was like one, and I totally guessed it. Then there was a second one, and I didn't guess it, but I think that's because like it was just there for shock value. And then the third one barely made sense to me. So that's it about that book. Are we almost to the end yet? The next book I read was Survivor Song by Paul Tremblay. I also gave this a 2 star. I don't even remember what this book was about because I was listening to the audiobook of it and I fell asleep twice. I know it's about like extreme rabies that is killing people, and oh my god, I just don't want to read anything about epidemics or pandemics anymore. I didn't know what this book was about when I picked it up. I just knew that it was a Goodreads Choice Awards nominee, and I read at the Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay, and I thought it was pretty good, but I just didn't like this book. I felt like he was really trying to do something with it, but I don't know what he was trying to do. So, that's not usually a good thing. And it's just like, it was so boring to like, anytime something interesting would happen, it'd be like for 2 seconds, and then we go back to like long descriptions of this like one coyote or something. I don't need to hear about this. So that's Survivor Song. That's it. That's my opinion. Next I read The Battle of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, and I DNF'd it. I did not finish it. A little over 60% of the way through. I just thought this book was so long. Oh my god, it never ended. And I really didn't care about anyone. Like, stop trying to make me care about President Snow. He was fine in the original trilogy, and he's fine now. But now I feel like that this book is going to taint my idea of the original trilogy, which I thought was very good. I don't even want to say anything about this book. I didn't like it. I gave it 2 stars. I didn't get it. I didn't get why we needed it. No one asked for a Hunger Games prequel. If this was 2012 and everyone liked YA dystopian, then sure, but it's not. Nobody needed this book, and that's it. Okay, finally I can talk about something that I actually liked. I read The Monsters of Verdi duology by V.E. Schwab. This is about monsters in Verdi and Kate and August, and I liked it. In fact, originally I was very disappointed by it because my favorite duology / series is The Villains duology by V.E. Schwab, and I expected this to just be as good, and when I read it I was like, this just isn't it. I wasn't really connecting with it, but then after I put it down, I just couldn't really stop thinking about it, and I think about it fondly now. So I originally gave the first book 3 stars, and the second book 3.5 stars, but I think I'm going to bump them both up half of a star. Okay, I just did probably the worst winged eyeliner ever, but I'm very tired. The last thing I read was, I have the book, but I don't want to hold it up because I'm doing something, was Vengeful by V.E. Schwab, aka number 2 in the Villains duology. Vicious is one of my favorite books of all time. And honestly, Vengeful is not as good, obviously. There was not enough interactions between Victor and Eli. They had 2 lines of dialogue, and their final fight scene was such a disappointment compared to the ending of Vicious, which is so much better. I did not connect with the new characters. Marcella was supposed to be this, oh god, this super cool feminist woman, and I'm like, that's great, love that for her. But she didn't have a personality, so I found it very hard to connect with her. However, I still gave this book 4 stars, and I still loved it because I love these characters, and I love V.E. Schwab's writing. I just think that it's great. And I thought that it was great, although I thought it was just okay. Does that make sense? No. Okay. If you can't tell, I'm tired. These were probably very bad book reviews. But, that works. So, I hope that you have a nice day. Yep, okay, bye.